What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Ask Alex, where this is the show where I take all of your questions and answer them right here on this show. For the last few episodes, I've been interviewing different personalities, media personalities, and actors and directors. And today's special episode, I wanted to interview one of a really great media personality that I've been following for the last year. His name is Omar Spahi, if I pronounced that correctly. He is the CEO slash founder of Dreamers Comic Podcast. How are you doing today, Omar?
Great. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's exciting to talk to you and talk about comics. And I know you're a big comic book fan as well, so I'm excited.
Man, I'm excited to Omar. I'm excited to email to interview you. It's actually really cool that I have you on the show because, like I said, the last couple years, or last year, I've been following your podcast, and it's really cool how you guys dive into comic books and original comic book creators. So I wanted to ask you, how did you get started doing your podcast slash YouTube channel?
Well, for me, it came out of this space where I knew there was something I wanted to do in comic books, and I wanted to talk to different creators about what they were passionate about, how their stories kind of came to be, and I wanted to kind of analyze comics as more of a business, and understand how pitching works, how writing works, how art works, and how people become comic book creators. So that's what I did. I just kind of went out there and I started interviewing my friends, and all of a sudden we hit over 50 episodes just recently, so that's super exciting.
Yo, that's amazing. I hope one day I can reach 50 episodes. Like I only have like 100 plus videos on my channel, but it's nothing consistent of a series. So that is something I definitely aspire to. But I did want to ask you, like, are you currently? Because I know you talked to a lot of original comic book creators. Are you guys thinking about developing a comic book of any kind, or just you guys just love the fandom?
No, I mean, for me, definitely, I'm always writing different comic books. I have like two or three pitches out right now. I think the goal is always to make comic books and tell stories because that's what I'm passionate about. And the show is a way for people to kind of learn what works and what doesn't work. And hopefully that's what people get out of it. And they see a way to do actual growth in comic books, a way to tell better stories, a way to learn from your peers. So really, it's a comic book show for comic book fans and comic book creators alike. So it's kind of understanding how things kind of come together.
Oh no, that's amazing. I know at one point while I was in college, I wanted to develop a comic book because I was so into comic books. I had a draft. I was trying to base it off of the kind of like the New Mutant slash Static Shock universe where like this big explosion happens and people get powers. These young kids, but they don't know how to deal with them. And for me, the writing aspect was the easiest. It's the drawing aspect and the publishing and all that other stuff. And I've noticed on your show, you guys go into deep detail of how to get those things done. And I just wanted to ask you, like, for someone who's maybe aspiring to write their own comic book, what's the first step you take in terms of making your own comic book?
Well, I mean, I think for me, it starts with with an idea. It really starts with, okay, I want to make a comic book. Now you have to make decisions about what it's going to be about, and then it's about assembling the right team. If you have certain abilities with writing or art, that's really great. You have to find if you're not an artist, you have to find the right artist. If you are don't have a letterer, you have to find the right letterer. It's about people and really connecting with people. So you got to put pen to paper, figure out, write a draft of your script, start showing it around, start taking notes from your friends, and just kind of get it out there. There's no easy way to do it. You just have to start doing it.
Yo, I just watched one of your recent episodes on your YouTube channel where you guys were interviewing one of my favorite Schmodown competitors, Jason Inman, about getting started in this business, whether it's like comic books or media personalities, things that we do. And he basically said what you just said, like you have to just do it. You just have to go and do it. And the really cool thing about what he said is that there is no magic formula. There is no there isn't a certain word or thing that you can say to be as booming as the next biggest YouTube channel out there. But the really cool thing I loved about what he said was just, all you have to do is just do it. If that means, grabbing your phone and recording yourself, you can do that, or grabbing your laptop or wherever the case may be. So I wanted to ask, like, did you originally start on YouTube, or did you originally have your own like podcast format?
No, the way it originally started was an audio only show. We did audio episodes only, and we did thought, oh, okay, this is great. We'll see how long it lasts. And then we switched from audio only to doing video. And so what we would do is we ended up doing Facebook live streams. Now, Facebook live streams are really great, but they only have a certain lifespan if they go live. They only really stay alive during that period where they actually go live. So we thought that YouTube would be a much better platform. So what we did is we took a lot of the old episodes and used the same content, and then created a lot of new content. And now we're doing daily episodes every day, 365 days a year on the YouTube channel.
Now that is very cool, and it's also very inspiring for me as well. Now I wanted to ask you just a couple questions, like in terms of comic books and just comic book movies and TV. Now I've had this question on my show multiple times, and I've answered it multiple times about the DC TV universe, which is basically the CW versus the DCEU, if you can even call it the DCEU anymore. My preference, I've always said, I don't know if you ever seen any of my episodes, but I've always said is that DCTV at least has a structure of how to tell each and every show, like from The Flash, The Arrow, Black Lightning, all that stuff. They have a consistent path of where they're driving those characters. And for me, for the DCEU, not to crap on it completely, because I do like BVS and I do like Man of Steel and I do like Wonder Woman. I like BVS, the Ultimate Cut, not the original cut. But with that being said, personally speaking, I think what they're doing to structure their universe, if you can call it a universe, is kind of odd. We're seeing these different projects like Birds of Prey, or a Harley Quinn movie, or a Gotham City Sirens and Batgirl. All these oddball projects in my opinion, don't necessarily shape their DCEU. So I just wanted to know, from your perspective, how do you feel about the DCEU and just DC TV as well?
Well, I grew up a huge fan of DC Comics. It's kind of like one of the main reasons I love comics is, getting in from that young age. People start in superhero comics, and then as they get older, they kind of venture more into the adult stuff like Image and the different publishers after that. But for me, my biggest issue with the DCEU versus the DCTV line, the DCEU always felt ingenuine to me because they weren't true to their characters. They didn't know who their characters were. Where I feel like DCTV has actually hit the mark is they know their characters' values, and they know that there's certain things that the character would do, and they hit that and they stay consistent with it. I know that Stephen Amell wasn't planning on the Arrow going more than one season when they first started. I mean, I know he was hoping for it, but he didn't know if it would. And from that, they've had 6 or 7 different TV shows in the works just because of that great show they put out. So it's just really fantastic to hear the DC TV line is continuing to grow. And now with Doom Patrol, Swamp Thing, Titans, there's going to be so many more shows out there for all these new characters getting a new brand of fan in to check out new characters, and there's something for everyone.
Yeah. I've actually started watching Titans, and so far I like it. I will say though, I kind of feel like Dick Grayson Robin is a little bit edgy. And the comic books he was edgy, but not, I don't think, to me at least, not to this extent. But I get where they're trying to go with this particular show, and I haven't finished the season, so I don't know how it's going to end yet. And I just started watching Doom Patrol as of right now. Not a huge fan, but I've only watched one episode, so before I judge it completely, I'm going to watch it all. But I wanted to ask you, because someone did ask me this over the weekend, like, since we've seen Superman on TV and in the movies, how close do you think we are seeing Batman on TV? Because we saw like an illusion of Batman on the CW's Elseworlds crossover, where we acknowledge that Bruce Wayne and Batman exist, but we've never seen that particular character on TV, at least. Do you think we'll see him in the next few years?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to become this. It's going to take over this life of its own. I think Superman should get his own TV show from the DCTV line, as well as Batman when he comes around. If it's about casting the right person. I think it would be a really cool nod if they were to take young Bruce Wayne from Gotham and have him age a few years and potentially put him there. But I'm a huge fan of what they're doing. But it'd be interesting to see how they decide to do it. I think it'd be great to have John Diggle take over as Green Lantern and have the whole Justice League kind of appear through that, because they really have all the key members. They're missing Wonder Woman and really Green Lantern and Batman, and pretty much you have the Justice League already ready to go for TV.
Okay, yeah. Now, see, I think that would be dope as well, because I've seen, like, for instance, like one of my favorite CW shows, aside from Supernatural, was Smallville, and I loved Smallville, especially all the different things that they tackled in that show. But I did want to ask you, since we've talked about DC, personally, like, where do you think Avengers Endgame is going to take us? And I haven't seen Captain Marvel yet. I know they did some early screenings of it. And from the reviews that I've read, it's saying that it's really good, and Thanos should look out for Captain Marvel because she's a force to reckon with. But I've noticed with the Avengers Endgame trailers, they literally have shown us nothing, like nothing about where they are or what the story is. I mean, we see them obviously, but it doesn't tell us how they're going about this threat. So I wanted to ask you, like, how do you think Avengers Endgame is going to turn out?
Well, I think for me, I think the reason they show nothing in those trailers is because you're already in. They've built a universe where they can show you nothing and still get you excited about it. It's a great marketing play where they don't have to tell you what the movie's about. They can show you a few faces that you've become familiar with, and then from there you can you can run with it. I think, as the writer in me thinks, okay, well, this is the end, so naturally they have to come back to the beginning, bring things back to normal. We saw at the end of the last Avengers movie, things kind of shifted the status quo, and now they're going to kind of have to fight their way back to bring the status quo back, and hopefully Marvel will continue to make great movies for many years to come.
Yeah, I hope so, because that Spider-Man Far From Home trailer was actually very promising. It was actually one of my favorite trailers that I've seen so far in the MCU, aside from Endgame, but it was one of my favorite standalone movie trailers that I've seen so far, and I can't wait to see how they're going to take their future projects from this point on. But I did want to ask you, from a media pundit standpoint, I've noticed that on your show you've interviewed Ashley V. Robinson and Jason Inman. In the near future, do you think we'll see like any more other guests on your show? They either create comic books or just media pundits of that nature?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had John Suntress on the show. He created a Word Balloon podcast he's been doing, and I think must be 13 years now. Mm-hmm. Ashley and Jason have both been fantastic. They're doing a Crisis Club over on their Patreon now. If you want to check that out, mm-hmm. As well as I have a ton of comic book creators lined up, and I have some really, really cool guests coming up, and I'm really excited to kind of tell their stories and unveil their secrets on how they made the comics and became successful.
Now, Omar, the last question I have for you, because I'm a huge Collider Schmodown fan. Well, actually, it's two questions. Have you ever been to a live event at the Schmodown? And my next question was, will we ever see you in the Inner Geekdom tournament?
Well, I've never been to the Inner Schmodown, but I'm always open to a challenge. So if there's ever a challenge with some geekdom, I can play with the best of them. So as long as they invite me, I'll be there.
Oh, okay. Now I would love to see that, because, like I said, I've been following your show for a while, and to me, it seems like you really know comics. And it seems to me that you know a lot about comic book movies and just fandom in general. So I think you would be a dope contestant on that show if you ever get a chance to go. So I would love to see you on that show. But Omar, as far as your social media and all that stuff, where can the people find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Dreamer Comics or at Xenoglyphs. Or you can check me out on Instagram at Dreamer Comics Podcast or Ospahi. or you can find me if you go to our website, dreamercomicspodcast.com. Probably the best way to sign up for the mailing list and join the Dreamer Comics world.
Thank you so much, Omar, for being a part of this show. I really wanted to interview you because, like I said, like I really follow your work, and it's a really inspiring for me as a media pundit as well to do the things that you're doing as well. So I want to thank you personally for coming on the show. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Ask Alex. If you haven't already, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And also you can follow me on my various social medias as well. Also, go ahead and follow Omar's various social medias as well. I listen to his podcast at least once or twice a week to see what's going on in comics. And if you're a comic book fan, this is one of the places I would recommend that you go, because I've learned a lot over the course of a year just listening to his show. Thank you once again for being on the show, Omar. I really do appreciate you coming by. And thank you guys for watching this video, and you guys have a great day. Thank you guys for watching this video. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube page to get more exclusive content coming from my YouTube channel. And if you want to watch my previous videos, go ahead and click on this video up here or this video down here, where you get to see more exclusive content coming from my channel. Thank you guys for watching this video, and you guys have a blessed day.